Hi, good afternoon. My name is Levon Edwards, and I'm with Singapore Telecom. Appreciate you guys taking some time this afternoon to come out and hear a little bit more about SingTel and our capabilities around cloud infrastructure. I think I'm the last speaker of the day, and I was thinking it'd probably be a cool idea for me to raffle off this e-cigarette, because I know that those things are not going to be available very much longer in the market. But I'm just joking. It's not an e-cigarette. It's a pen that the 10 gig guys over there had. So I'll just keep that for myself. So SingTel is a communication provider that is headquartered out of Singapore. And we're excited to be here. We do business with a lot of enterprise customers that are looking to set up business in the Asia Pac. So Singapore is a very strategic location in terms of being able to get to half the world's population within an 8-hour flight. So we're excited to continue to support enterprise customers with our teams here locally in helping you be successful in the Asia Pac. So SingTel has been around for 140 years. We're celebrating our 140th year celebration this year. We have a lot of different lines of business. One of the lines of business that we have is mobility. So to kind of give you a perspective of who SingTel is from a mobility standpoint, if you were to take the entire U.S. market, which is about 344 million subscribers, and that's kind of taking AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile and putting them together. They make up about 344 million. SingTel has about 706 million subscribers throughout the Asia Pac. So we're very large in terms of our technology in that part of the world. The team that I represent is the enterprise team. And we have about 428 POPs around the world that we service customers with connectivity, cloud, and various other services that I will talk more about here today. This is kind of a nice visual of our footprint and some of the companies that we own. So if you're familiar with Bharti in India, we own a significant amount of that company. If you're familiar with Australia, there's a company down there called Optus. SingTel is 100% owner of Optus. And then we have various other parts of the globe there where we own a significant amount of connectivity. So if you were to take a snapshot of our market share, this slide gives you a pretty good indication of that. If you looked at international VPN, we've got about 21% market share there, 16% market share in leased lines, EVPN and E-line, 17% and 24% there. So we've got a great stake in the Asia Pac. So I'm going to talk to you today about a product that we provide that specifically helps customers in the data center environment and also in the cloud environment. So the three things I want you to take away with today. One is called our Liquid Infrastructure Portal, which is the portal that I'll be demonstrating for you. I want you to be able to really understand and see the capabilities there in terms of managing your network connections. The next thing I want you to come away with is seeing our SD Connect platform in action. And again, this is the way that we connect our customers to their data centers as well as to data center or cloud providers. And then the last thing I want you to do is really take away that SingTel is the right choice for doing business in the Asia Pac. Okay? So the first item is data center trends. So what's happening in the data center space as well as the cloud space? So one thing is there's an expectation that we will see 20.6 zettabytes of traffic coming out of data center and cloud platforms. So I think it's very evident in the world that we live in today that a lot of applications are moving to data centers and moving to the cloud. So we only see that continue to grow. In 2016, it was 6.8 zettabytes. So we expect to see significant growth over the next 5 years. We also expect to see about 94% of workloads move to be processed in data centers and cloud platforms as well. So that's a very significant amount. And then the last item here is that there is a lot of information around about 65% of enterprises that'll be using multiple cloud providers in their deployment of cloud services. So utilizing AWS and Google Cloud or Azure. We also do a great deal of business with Alibaba Cloud. So there's a big push that you'll see businesses using multiple providers in those platforms. So what are some of the challenges that are faced today? One of the main challenges is the complexity of the workloads that are moved to the cloud. Oftentimes, the first choice for connectivity to the cloud is basic internet. And as we all know, basic internet is not real predictive, it's not real secure, and so that's one of the challenges that a lot of companies face. The second thing they face is cost and effort. You know, being required to manage multiple connections in and out of data centers can be a challenge for IT directors and managers. And then the last item is the time and effort. You know, there's times where companies want to be able to turn up a circuit in a short amount of time, or maybe use that circuit for just a week or over a weekend. And those are some of the challenges that IT professionals face today. So I got a funny little story that I thought I would tell around that. My wife has a preschool that she runs, and one of the little sayings that I often hear her talk to the kids about is that you take what you get and you don't throw a fit. Has anybody heard that before? A little nursery rhyme or something there, and this kind of reminds me of the communications industry at times. I think for years and years, companies have had to buy the way that the providers wanted to sell the services to them. So if you had the need for a short circuit for a small interval, most of the time you were required to do what? The provider wanted you to sign a 1-year contract, right? They didn't provide circuits for 2 weeks or for 3 weeks and things of that sort. And so the thing that SingTel has built this platform on is kind of a next generation network that allows our customers to consume the services how they want to consume them, in the increments that they want to consume them. Okay, so the first two items that I'll talk to about that is an agile network. So the ability to provide on-demand connectivity. That's the first benefit of these next generation networks. The second item there is multi-cloud connectivity. So it's the ability to have one connection, have that connection connect you to AWS, and have that same connection take you to Azure or to Google Cloud. That sort of capability over a single connection. The next two items here with our next generation networks is visibility. Customers love to be able to look into their network and see how the network's performing, see where they're having challenges, maybe turn up services in a quick manner. So that's the visibility portion. And then the last portion is around flexible billing. So what if you could turn up a circuit for a couple of days, move the workload that you needed to move, like the demonstration that happened just before us, and then turn that circuit off when you don't need it. So those are the capabilities that we deliver. This is a super busy slide, so I'm not going to go through it, but the two items that we're going to talk about is SD Connect and then visibility through the Liquid Infrastructure Portal. Okay. And before I jump into the demo, the last slide that I'll show here is kind of a visual of what this network looks like. So over on the left-hand side, you've got a customer that has their data center. They've connected to our network using a secure web portal. And let's say the first thing they want to do is connect their data center to a secondary data center in Singapore. They're able to make that connection take place. And it creates what we call a VLAN. And then let's say they also need to connect to Amazon or to Microsoft or Alibaba Cloud. They can make those connections take place, create a VLAN for each one of those clouds, and also use that same connection. So in essence, in this example here, you have one connection going into customer's location, and I have 4 different circuits and 4 different connections going on to these cloud platforms. So this provides that sort of flexibility that we're talking about. Okay, so I'm going to jump down to the demo here. And in this demo, I'm going to show you how you go in and view your resources in our Liquid Infrastructure portal. So you'll see the connections that you have today. I'll show you how to create a virtual connection. So you decide how much bandwidth, where you want to connect to. I'll also show you that bandwidth on demand. So again, you decide if you want to pay on a monthly basis, on a hourly basis. And then the last thing is network visibility. So I'll show you how you can go in and you'll see your performance of your circuits, see if you've experienced any outages, see what your throughput looks like, and things of that sort, okay? So let me shift gears here for a second. Okay, hold on just one second. I always advise you to bring your engineer along with you for situations like this. So that's the...
It's not coming up. Function monitor. Okay. Is it not coming? No signal detected. Why is it? Okay, there you go. Give me a minute. Duplicate. Is it coming up?
No, not yet. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Okay. All right, awesome. Thank you, Kevin. All right. So I'm going to rewind this here. Okay, so this is our Liquid Infrastructure portal that you would have as a customer of SingTel. So I'm logging into the network now. As you log in, you will have a dashboard. The dashboard gives you a quick view of any particular circuits that you want to keep an eye on today in terms of its network performance. On the left-hand side over there, you start to see the SD Connect platform. Okay, so we're going to go into that. That's the services that interconnects you to various data centers and cloud providers. So we're going to log into that. We'll click on Resources. The Resources gives us an idea of all the connections that you have in your data centers. So we're showing data centers in Singapore and Hong Kong on this example here. So we got Equinix, there's some DRT locations, some SingTel locations as well. Okay, the next thing that we're doing here is we're logging into one of the SingTel data centers. We're going to create a VLAN. Okay, we're going to put VLAN 115, and it's going to be a connection from the data center to Azure. I'll click Submit. Okay, I successfully created that VLAN. Okay, so I'll go back in. I'll verify I've got VLAN 115. Now I'm going to create my connection. So I click on Create there. So the first end is the comm center end, and then the second end of the circuit, I got a menu here that I can pull down, and I can look at all the different cloud providers that we're interconnected to. So on this one, I'm going to go down to Microsoft in Singapore. I'm going to name the network connection there. So we'll go DC to Azure. We'll get the Azure service key number entered as well. And then we also assign it a VLAN. Now the other thing with this connection is I can make it a primary connection or a secondary connection into that particular platform. So we'll stay with primary. Okay, here I can make the connection immediate, or I can schedule it out as many days as I would like. Okay, I enter the remarks there. And so now I've created a connection, again, from my data center to Microsoft. Okay, so verify the VLANs, got all the information. Now I can decide how much bandwidth I would like to transmit between the two locations. I can update it as needed there. And then the dynamic bandwidth tool there is a way for me to decide how I want to be billed. Do I want to do this as a one-time connection, or do I want this to be a reoccurring connection that stays on until I disconnect it? So I'm able to do that at the dynamic bandwidth section there. Okay, and on this one I'm scheduling it that for Friday at 11 a.m. till 12 p.m. I want that connection to take place, and I'm going to move 200 megs of bandwidth between those two locations. So it shows that it's successfully added that in. And so that is a way to create that sort of bandwidth on demand. Okay? Any questions on that so far? Okay. The next thing that we'll show, we'll go back to the list here. We've got a great portal that gives you kind of visibility over all the connections that you have across your network. So you can click on connection management, and it'll show all the different connections from your data centers to the various cloud providers or other particular data centers, the bandwidth associated with that. Okay? And then the last thing that our customers get a lot of value out of is the visibility. So we have tools built into our visibility section there that allows you to do ping tests, trace routes, understand how the network's performing. Okay? And then we click down to reports. And this is a great simplified way to do a traffic report, look at all of your network connections across all of your locations, look at the utilization for inbound traffic, for outbound traffic, the bandwidth, and then the country that the service is terminating in. You've got the capability to drill down into those locations. It'll run a little bit of a report here of what your circuit utilization looks like on that particular circuit. You can kind of look at that over time. You can also compress the time, maybe squeeze it into a couple day period, so you can see exactly how the network is performing in terms of maximum and your average throughput. You can also download the services there, and then we also provide you all the pertinent information around your circuit ID information, address information, and so on. So that's an overview of our liquid infrastructure portal. Again, the aim at SingTel is to provide our customers with the capability to manage those networks in a very flexible manner, help them be able to make those agile adjustments to the network as needed. This is that service that I tell my wife that, hey, we're not treating our customers like preschool kids and telling them just, take the services the way that it comes. It really gives them that flexibility to move workloads and adjust to the demands of your customer base. So I appreciate the opportunity to visit with you. Our booth is just over here to the right. Thank you all for coming.